Hello and welcome to the first show of our new series. Germaine Greer is one of the most famous women in the world. Born in an Australian suburb in 1939, she came to Britain and wrote the bestseller, The Female Eunuch, which transformed the lives of millions of women. In parallel with a career as an academic, Germaine also enjoyed her new celebrity status. Always outspoken and controversial, she's frequently in the public eye with her writings, broadcasting and public appearances. Tonight, we ask Germaine Greer, is this your life? Germaine Greer, welcome. You've been seen for years as a high priestess of the women's movement, because that's what they called you. Now you find yourself accused by some of betraying the feminist cause. Tonight we're going to look at the story of your life to see if it can shed any light on how this has come about. You were born 56 years ago on an Australian cattle ranch in the middle of a bushfire. You were the oldest of 3 children. Your mother, Margaret, seems to have been the dominant figure in your family. We spoke to your brother, Barry. He told us this.
My mother has a unique personality. And she has ways of setting challenges for people, particularly her own children, and she has also ways of celebrating their strengths. So if you ever got pushed around by my mother, I was always of the view that it's because she thought you could handle it.
Were you tough enough to handle it?
Oh, he's such a good man. I love my brother. What?
No,
I wasn't. I'm not as tough as my brother. Mind you, look at his face. Oh, God. I mean, he's 10 years younger than I am. He looks like Father Time.
But did you...
I love him. I love him. He's a wonderful... By the way, he's a teacher. Can't you tell he's a teacher? I mean, he's writing that report that finds the best in the child that has completely wrecked the school. You know? Ah, yes, well, you've got to say that he's resourceful. Setting challenges, you betcha.
Did she maltreat you?
I'm not sure, to tell you the truth. I mean, I was beaten with sticks and hurt.
Badly?
I don't know how badly. How bad does it have to be? Maybe there are children out there whom you can beat and they shrug it off. I was the sort of child who never forgot it. So that if my mother had kissed me 1,000 million times and beaten me once, I would remember the beating. And I can't tell you now whether I was beaten often. I don't know. And I don't even hold it against her particularly, you know. Just one of those things. I'm afraid of her. I'm still afraid of her. Still.
Now, you didn't have much of a relationship with your father either. Indeed, you wrote a book about him called Daddy, We Hardly Knew You. In it, you say he never once hugged you. If you put your arms around him, he would grimace and at least pretend to shudder. And you quote him as saying to you as a little girl, you're big enough and ugly enough to take care of yourself. I mean, it does sound as if you had a lousy time from both parents.
Oh, well, I don't know if I really did. I mean, in the case of my father, listen, I realised when my father was dying that he was in love with my mother, crazy in love with her. And her bad behaviour, which persisted right up until the wire, excited him because he would never dare to behave so badly himself. She wouldn't come to see him, and when she came, she wouldn't stay, and she'd find sort of ridiculous reasons to quarrel with him. The nurses would be extremely censorious. They preferred she didn't come because he got upset. But he longed to see her. She really vivified him. She excited him. And I decided then that children never know about their parents' marriage. We just don't know what went on between these two people. We don't know what they were for each other. And even if we as children were revolted, it's none of our business in the end. We didn't learn sex from our parents, and we never know what the passion was between them. So I don't actually judge that relationship. My mother would say that my father died in love with her and that this was her achievement. My feeling is rather that it was his achievement. But it's none of my business in the end.
Well, at the age of 12, you won a scholarship to the Star of the Sea convent school in Melbourne. We spoke to one of your teachers, Sister Raymond Taylor, whom you haven't seen for 40 years. She told us this.
Even as a young girl of 13, she was clever. She was really quite talented, but she was creative. She had, even as a young girl, considerable acting ability, which she got the opportunity to use throughout her school days.
You never quite lost that actress bit, I mean, the ability to perform.
Well, it's not a question of the convent giving it to me so much as me making it. I mean, I produced every man and played every man and died on stage at 13 or something. And I was Christ and Joseph and the Madonna and an angel and the 13th girl on the 14th rock in the Pirates of Penzance. But no, I wasn't the star, actually, at that stage.
But that ability to perform, indeed even that need to perform, stayed with you.
Don't know. Do I have a need to perform? I mean, I always knew I didn't want to be an actress, that it was a terrible life. Perhaps I should have been a nun.
Did you think of it?
Oh, sure. Are you kidding? When I was 15, I was well on the way to being a nun.
And you sometimes
But I
wish
didn't
now
want to
that you
just
had.
be a nun. No, no, I don't. No.
No?
No, not a nun. A priest, maybe. Not a nun. But not even a priest. I actually don't like God. That's my problem. I quite like nuns, but I don't like God.
Well, after convent, you went to Melbourne University. One of your friends at school and university was Carmen Khalil, who went on to become a famous feminist publisher in London. She told us this.
The University of Melbourne, where we both went, was as rigorous, really, as the rest of Melbourne. We wore pleated skirts and twin sets and false pearls from Woolworths and little pearl studs in our ears. It was all ordered and calm.
It's a little hard to grasp Germaine, the student, as this demure little creature in the twin set and pearls.
Did I have a twin set? No, I don't think I did. At university, I belonged to a group called The Drift, which Carmen wasn't connected with, I think. And these were painters, philosophers, painters and philosophers, mistresses, wives, ex-wives, and so on.
More bohemian than you would expect Melbourne to be in the 50s.
It was very bohemian.
Well, another of your college contemporaries said that you carried a velvet bag of coloured condoms around with you.
Who said I carried a velvet bag of coloured condoms? What nonsense. No, I only used a condom once in my life.
Well,
We're in a ski lodge and unwrapping the damn thing woke everybody up. It was terrible. You know all that business of ripping the little... And then we lost it. I'm still of the view that you lose them all the time, but perhaps I'm wrong.
All right, but at the age of 25, you won a scholarship to Cambridge University. It was the start of the swinging 60s here in Britain, and you were swinging with the best of them. You joined the famous Cambridge Footlights, a chance to try out this acting ability, which Sister Taylor talked about. Well, one of your contemporaries at Cambridge, perhaps rather better known now than he was then, said this about you 20 years ago.
Germaine is, without a doubt, one of the 3 or 4 outstandingly talented Australians of my generation. I don't think there's any question of that. Through no fault of her own, perhaps, she's one of those people who needs fame as other people need meat and drink. And she did a lot to help the legend gain momentum.
What did I do? Tell me what I did.
You need fame as other people need meat and drink.
There is someone who needs fame more than other people need meat
Even
and
more
drink.
than you?
I don't think I need fame at all.
Don't you think fame is essential to you?
No.
Not at all.
I'd be very happy without it. I lived in Italy for 20 years when no one knew who I was. And I was happy with that.
Well, we spoke to William Levy in Amsterdam. He also knew you around this time, and he told us this.